Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here and welcome to my guide to Beast of Man, the solo duel against Lyon the Beast King in the Bosnian Southern Front. This duel is spawned from the Hunt for Red Chalktober critical engagement in the middle section of the map. As a reminder, critical engagements and the skirmishes that spawn them can be spawned by killing lots of Magitek mobs in the region of the map they take place. Upon completion of the critical engagement, any players who avoided all dodgeable AoEs will qualify to queue for the duel. However, only one person will be selected at complete random from those who accept the challenge. Defeating a Lion will reward an achievement, a title, 30 Tomestones of Allegory, 99 lockboxes, a data log for him, and provide all nearby spectators and the winner themselves a 30-minute buff to medal gain. Losing will make you sad. For lost actions, everyone needs Dispel for Lyon's very first attack. After that, feel free to replace it with whatever else you need. You'll also need Manawall unless you're a tank. Unless that tank is a Dark Knight, then you're going to need Manawall anyway. Sorry, Living Dead. Other than that, it's highly recommended to bring good sustain here, as Lyon's unavoidable damage is quite high compared to Gabriel's. Essence of the Beast or Bloodsucker are both solid options. Auto, potion kits, even the Cure 2 action all work fine here. Work in some damage with any of the remaining slots if you can, as the faster you get through this, the better off you'll be. Lyon's very first attack will be Raging Winds. This will do some AoE damage, but more importantly, it will give Lyon a very powerful end wind effect, making his auto attacks deal over 20,000 damage a hit. It is crucial that you dispel this immediately, though expect to probably take one auto attack from it while you're doing that. After this, you can discard Dispel for a more useful action if you have the time to safely swap one in. Oh, and it will also cover the edge of the arena in a deadly AoE you do not want to touch. His first big mechanic is Heart of Nature, which he will use several times throughout the fight, and when he does, it will trigger a series of mechanics that get progressively harder the longer you take to defeat him. The first Heart of Nature is pretty straightforward. It will do a significant amount of unavoidable damage and will place a giant earth AoE on the ground. This is a cascading AoE, so it will start as the circle you see, then pulsate outward as a giant donut AoE a couple of times. Stand on the edge of the big AoE and move into it after it goes off. He will then follow this up with jumping to the opposite side of the room and aiming a Taste of Blood attack at you. This is a 180-degree AoE that will cleave everything in front of him, a place you don't want to be. You'll have to follow him quickly and get behind him in order to avoid this attack. Every time he does Heart of Nature plus Taste of Blood, I highly advise saving Sprint or even bringing Lost Swift if you are on a job without a gap closer. If you do have a gap closer, save it for Taste of Blood every time. It makes it way easier. Positioning closer to the center of the room helps if you don't have a gap closer. Heck, even if you do, it at least lowers the travel time, I guess. Next up is Ravenous Gale. When this attack finishes casting, Lyon will drop several tornado traps around the arena and one under the player's current location. If you step on any of these traps, you'll be launched into the air and killed. Right before this finishes casting, ensure you are moving so that you don't trigger the trap that spawns under you, but also don't sprint across the arena and then accidentally step on another one. These traps do stay on the ground for quite some time, so you're gonna need to avoid them while doing another mechanic. Next is Dynastic Flame. When this finishes casting, Lyon will fire 4 back-to-back fireballs at you, leaving them on the ground where they hit you. They'll pulse a moderately sized AoE while they persist, and after pulsing several times, will fire in a line AoE at your current location. I recommend running along the edge of the arena without stopping once this attack starts, in order to ensure you not only drop the orbs away from the center of the room, but that you don't get hit by the pulsing AoE that follows once they hit you. Now, as the orbs start to fire as a line AoE at you, he will actually jump to the center of the room and aim a Taste of Blood in your direction. You're going to need to get behind him while carefully avoiding the line AoEs from the fireballs. As soon as you dodge the Taste of Blood will come Twin Agonies. This will kill the player unless you Manawall or use a tank invulnerability skill, so use those accordingly. You won't need Manawall again after this, so feel free to slap something else in your duty actions if you can safely do so afterwards. Lyon then uses Wind's Peak, which is a small point-blank AoE at first. After the attack goes off, it will also do some room-wide damage and knock you back. Don't use knockback prevention on this first one though. Just aim your character so that the knockback won't send you into the wall, and be prepared for him to use this many more times. I like to actually move in to the point blank AoE after it goes off, just so I can make sure I have that little bit of extra distance behind me. Next is Heart's Nature number 2. After doing room-wide damage, it will summon 4 gradually moving AoEs that travel in the direction the arrow is facing. These are being called Exequakes by some members of the community. At the same time, he will use Wind's Peak in an attempt to knock you into the path of these AoEs. I recommend always saving knockback resistance for this combo, Heart's Nature number 2, as you can stand directly in the center of the room and avoid all of the moving AoEs very easily once Wind's Peak goes off. There will also be a King's Notice here, which is a gaze AoE from Lyon himself. Just make sure you look away from him or you'll be hysteria'd into the wall. Following this is Heart's Nature number 3. This one will have 4 gradual AoEs crossing through the center of the room, 2 on each side. Alongside this will be 2 of those giant cascading earth AoEs you dealt with earlier. The idea here is similar, but a little bit tighter movement-wise. Stand just outside of one of those giant earth AoEs, and then move in after that one goes off. When the earth AoE that's farther from you cascades the first time, you'll need to move into where that donut AoE hit, closer to the center of the room. As soon as you are safe from both of these, get to a side away from all those Exaquakes. Lyon isn't done though. He'll shortly after use Splitting Rage, which causes the misdirection effect on the player. Your character will only move in the direction the pointer over your head is facing, no matter what you press. As soon as you see this casting, get closer to the center of the room to help with the upcoming movement. Once Lyon jumps away and does Taste of Blood, time the pointer so you can move your character behind Lyon to avoid the attack. If you have a spare gap closer and you want to use it here, you can, but you're still going to have to time the pointer and just again, make sure you have them for another mechanic that's coming up. Once this is done, Lyon will do the Ravenous Gale attack again, but he'll follow it up with Wind's Peak. Ensure you don't get knocked into any of the traps that are laid across the floor with this, otherwise it's nothing special. After this is Dynastic Flame, which is the same as before, but fortunately there isn't a Taste of Blood when it finishes. Unfortunately, there's something worse. As the fireballs are firing their line AoEs at you, Lyon will use Heart of Nature number 4, his final pattern. This replicates Heart of Nature number 3 with a couple of changes. First is that those fireballs will still be aiming for you as the attack begins, so you have to be wary of them when you're getting to the safe spot in order to dodge the quakes in the middle of the room. More importantly, after those quakes go off and you dodge the cascading AoEs, Lyon will jump away and do Taste of Blood, forcing you through the center of the room where all the Exaquakes are. If you have a gap closer, this is a joke. Just gap close and get behind him as soon as this happens. If you don't, you'll want to get close to the center of the room and either sprint or Lost Swift to make up that distance. And remember, at this point, you're done with Dispel and Manawall, so there's plenty of room for you to use Swift here if you're worried about the movement. After one more Wind's Peak, Lyon will just repeat this fight again from Heart of Nature 2. He'll do Heart of Nature 2, then Heart of Nature 3, then Ravenous Gales with that Wind's Peak and the Dynastic Flame, into Heart of Nature number 4. You just gotta keep calm and repeat what you've already done. It's chaos, but it's organized chaos. After the third time he uses Heart of Nature number 4, Lyon will jump to the center and prepare Skyrending Strike. This is his Enrage, but thankfully it's got a super long cast time where you're free to do as much damage as possible. The total time for Enrage, including that cast bar, is just about 9 minutes, which is more than enough time to beat him. And with that, that's going to be a wrap for my guide to Lyon the Beast King. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you're enjoying Baja. Be sure to check out my video for the Gabriel solo as well, and I will be getting the video for the final 1v1 duel out, so all of you can become a Sword of the South. With that, be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, take care.